Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Eric with American Business Systems. I thought I'd start it just a tad early so I can let people come on in and get ready for the webinar this afternoon. Straight up 4 o'clock Central Time here in Texas. So it's good to have everybody here for our webinar Wednesday webinar. So today we're going to be talking about exploring ABS, a top business path for 2025. So we're going to cover a lot of material today. So be ready to hopefully you'll be able to get some questions answered this afternoon from me, and we'll just do our best to work together this afternoon. It's good to see everybody. Folks, can you believe we are literally 6 weeks away from the end of the year, let alone being Thanksgiving next week? Now, for those that are on today's webinar, know that we're going to do a Wednesday webinar next Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. It'll be our Thanksgiving special, so you're going to want to attend that. We're going to cover some great material on that Wednesday. Looks like we got a good full house this afternoon. Let's see who we got. We have Andrew and Damien and Dean and Deanna, Elias. Good to see everybody. Nancy, Ray, Sharon, Stephen, Henry, Harriet, Harry. I think I've said Elias. They're good to see everybody here this afternoon. Listen, if you don't mind finding the Q&A box there, if you'll just type in where you're calling in from this afternoon, I would appreciate it. It just kind of helps me make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear for you. Obviously, every time it seems like we get in this winterish, phase of everything, we all kind of tend to get the little sniffles and everything. And I'll go ahead and apologize early if I sound like a little scratchy here, but just working through this afternoon. But good to see everybody. Nancy's from South Carolina and Sharon's from Denver, Colorado. A little bit colder there than it is here, I understand. Dean's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good to see you. Elias from San Francisco. Henry is from Austell, Georgia. Good to see you, sir. Good to have everybody here. Thank you for typing in that. Folks, this is a reason where I do that is because I want you to know where you can type in your questions as we go through the presentation today. Let's see what else we got. Damien's from Lexington, Kentucky. Deanna's from Nevada. Good to have you. But Lake Tahoe. Good to see you. Harriet's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Good to see everybody. We got people from all over the world, or all over the United States here, and some places colder than where we are. For us here in Texas, it got down to 44. For us Texans, that's a little bit chilly. So, but we've had a great day, beautiful day, and I hope you're having a great day. And again, like I said, getting prepared and ready for the Thanksgiving weekend and week and following all of that. So it's good to see you here. My name's Eric Auger. I'll be your host this afternoon, taking you on a tour of discovering the ABS model and the path to success in medical billing. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. So again, just to let everybody know that ABS has been around for a little over 30 years. It's exciting to be a part of a company and being in an industry that can be sustaining for this long, especially in the healthcare industry. And folks, once you get into healthcare, in whichever ones that you get into, man, it grows and things just blossom when you get into this healthcare industry. Because what I found out through being in this field is that it just tends to lead into new areas, and you get to explore, and that's really what we're going to be kind of doing this afternoon, and kind of exploring what you'll be able to find, what you can be able to do. But let me kind of just do a quick introduction. Some of you have met Adam Phillips. Adam is our CEO. Some of you may be talking to Adam. Now, if you missed last Wednesday's webinar, I actually interviewed with Adam. We went over a lot of different stuff that's going on in the AI world, but we also explored and kind of looked at some things of what's happening going into 2025. So if you missed that webinar, please go back in our YouTube channel, which I'll show you here in just a little bit, where you can go find that, and you'll want to go back and listen to that webinar. It was a very informative webinar with everything that's having to do with artificial intelligence, and also what's about to happen here with American Business Systems moving forward. Some great new training classes. There's some advanced courses that are coming up. that would be part of like what we consider to be your continual education here with American Business Systems, and that's 100% included with what you purchase in here and in the investment here. Adam's written a couple of articles. This is what kind of led us out last week. He wrote an article that was featured in the Billing Coding Advantage magazine earlier this year. It's probably about April, May issue that it came out in. However, if you'd like to get a copy of this, reach out to your sales rep. Make sure that you get a copy of this. It's just a PDF, get out to you, and you'll really enjoy that. But he's also the founder of an organization called MIRMA. Now, MIRMA is the organization of which you will be a part of once you complete your training course. This is a great organization that you can be a part of. It's been out there for several years now. It is the organization which you can carry that logo, the MIRMA logo, in all of your marketing material on your website and everything else. Doctors do go here. They go to check you out, and then they get to see who's on the board of directors there and everything else. But it's this organization here that actually does your certification. So once you complete your 2 weeks of training, which I'm going to kind of get into a little bit this afternoon, once you get through with that training, MIRMA is the organization that certifies you as a certified medical revenue manager. And as I mentioned earlier, MIRMA is coming up with a brand new, gosh, how do I put it? A very, very in-depth, almost college level type of advanced information whenever it comes to the healthcare industry and specifically in revenue cycle management. So once the first bit of training, which again, I'm going to take you through this afternoon. Once you get through that, that's basically for 30 plus years here at American Business Systems. This is basically all the training that everybody's ever had. Now, we have continual education. We have webinars that we host on Fridays. But this new advanced training is going to actually help further you and solidify you in this industry even further. So I'd like to get right on into the webinar this afternoon. Again, we've entitled this Exploring ABS, or American Business Systems, a Top Business Path for 2025. Now, a lot of you have been doing a lot of research out there in the arenas of franchises and business opportunities and just looking for different things that you might want to get going. We feel like it's a great time. It's a great opportunity for you to get in. As you know, that whether whoever won the election this last November, what we see here is that at least for all of us in the United States, all of that is now behind us. So now we can look forward to really what's going on in our businesses, and this really didn't slow us down any, but we're looking forward to some of the great things that are going to happen within this industry. And you're going to want to be a part of it, because one of the things that I've had lots of conversations several years ago. Patrick Phillips and I used to do these webinars together, and we would go through periods of time when we talked about disruptions in the marketplace. Now, folks, let me kind of help you understand what that means and why this is important right now of where we are in history of these United States. Whenever you've got a disruption in the market, whether it's in healthcare or the restaurant industry or anything else, there's usually great opportunities. I'll give you an example. When we obviously a few years back, when we had the pandemic come through, a lot of businesses shut down. But what also happened out of that, a lot of businesses became that started. And one of those things I'll talk to you about today is some of the new services that we actually have here at American Business Systems that kind of came out of that. So what I'm trying to say is, regardless of who won the election or whoever's going to be in all these spots here, what we're seeing is not just an industry disruption, but there's going to be kind of a nationwide thing that we call that in a marketplace that's going to create some great opportunities for people going forward. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for myself, because I'm in healthcare now, going on 17 I've owned two medical billing companies. I'm still in healthcare. I'm actually on the post-acute side now, where I'm actually doing some things on the post-acute, which means post a hospital visit, kind of say. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Once you get involved in the revenue cycle management part of healthcare, folks, this blossoms out so that you can expand and grow your business and scale your business to even greater things that you could ever imagine. So I wanted to kind of just start off here is just basically where do you start right now in this path that we're taking this afternoon, exploring this path? Where do you begin? And especially within the healthcare industry that we're a part of in what's called the revenue cycle management of healthcare. So before I go to my next slide here, I want to kind of explain what revenue cycle management is, or what is known in this industry called RCM. Now, some of you may already understand what that means. Some of you may not. What you'll know RCM as from sort of a layman's position is that that's what we understand as what's called medical billing. But for the doctors and those that are in the healthcare world, the clinics, the urgent cares, the freestanding emergency rooms, or the laboratories that you could actually do billing for, they talk in terms of what's called revenue cycle management. And so that's basically where we're going to start this afternoon, is getting you on the right foot, starting off with understanding what revenue cycle management is. So basically what it's taking the notes from a doctor, which the doctors code their entire visit now, because everything's done electronically. Every doctor that I know of right now is utilizing some type of practice management system that is a subscription based, which means that they don't own the software anymore. Whenever I first got started with American Business Systems, I remember whenever our software actually came on CDs. Y'all remember that? Then it went from CDs to DVDs because you had to load it on a server, and then you had to create your server, and then you had to make sure that servers were secure, and you had to make sure it had its backups, and then you had to make sure it had all its new plugins, because software systems or operating systems change. So there's new patches and stuff like that. But American Business System has always been on the leading edge of healthcare technology. And we were one of the first business opportunities that were leading out with really a new technology whenever it came to practice management. And that was more of a cloud-based system. Now, all of us here today, we don't even think twice about seeing software as a service or calling anything as a cloud-based service now. It's just so accustomed, whether it's a Microsoft platform system or you're dealing something with a Mac system and the softwares that are available like that, Adobe, a lot of that is now software as a service. You rarely load anything on your computers now. Obviously now with the dawning of artificial intelligence, just to let you know, this graphic that you're looking at here is not a stock photo. I actually created this on a platform that is artificially intelligent. What I did, I put in the prompts, basically saying, hey, I want a picture of a photograph of an office setting that had a blurred background. I wanted a black coffee mug that had steaming coffee coming out of it. And I said, and I want on the coffee cup to say, start here. So folks, what I'm saying is that things are coming so advanced right now that even the stock photos that we used to use just to make our presentations are almost becoming archaic. So what I'm saying about that is that if you're looking at any of the business opportunities that's using a software that you have to load or carry and create a server-based system with it, you're really going to be behind a lot, and it's going to put you behind. So with all that said, we now have actually 3 different platforms in which you can present to a potential doctor that you can actually help them with their revenue cycle management. Or in the event, if they've got one that they're currently using and they don't want to change this yet, that's okay. We're going to show you how to do that. But let's start right now. Where do you begin on launching your medical billing business? So, folks, if you haven't gone to our website, I'm sure you've done a little bit of browsing through there. But usually people get into our website and there's a lot of content there. And so what I want to do is point out a few things that I want to make sure that you're getting and you're understanding and taking some next steps. The first thing is if you go back to our website there, you'll find up in the right-hand corner, just below where it says that call us there at 866-565-8413, is a big blue button there. It says download our 5 secrets to success. So what I want you to be able to do is not only ask for Adam's PDF of that article that I mentioned to you, but I want you to go down and download our 5 secrets to success. In there are some white papers that have been written by some of our current business owners, and what they did, how they got their business going, and what their current successes are. I think you'll really get a lot out of that if you'll take some time to get that. But again, go through and obviously you say click, you start right there, and that's the first path to kind of understand what you're getting and actually the cost. So let's just first start off with the cost. Now, let me say this before I go any further. If you got any questions, I already showed you where the Q&A box is, so feel free to go over there and drop me a question, and I'll make sure that I get that answer. I just want to make sure that I'm being heard okay, that I haven't lost anybody. So if somebody just pipe in and say, "Yep, I hear you loud and clear," and I see where we're going here. Until then, until I see somebody over there, I'm just going to keep going. But if somebody doesn't mind, just chime in there and say, "Yep, Eric, we're hearing you, and you're good to go." But we're going to talk about what's included in the ABS business package. It's a one-time all-inclusive investment of $30,000. Okay, so if you're looking at all the industries out there, you'll know that this business is a business that is a fairly low investment cost. Now, before I go any further, again, nobody's piped in anything, so I want to make sure that I'm being heard. So if I could. Okay, thank you, Deanna. I want to make sure that I'm being heard. So it's a one-time $30,000 investment. And people always ask, how can I get that? How can I pay for that? If you're looking for ways to do that, please, thank you, Chicks. It's good to see you too. Thank you. Go get back with your sales rep that you're working with here. And we're going to show you, we've got some creative ways to kind of help you with that. But if you're looking at a return on investment and how quickly can you get that money back into your pockets, I'm actually going to share with you a little bit of calculations and scalability of what you can do and how you can get that back into your pockets pretty quickly. But with any industry, any business opportunity or franchise, you certainly want to know what is your return on investment. Now, this truly is a one-time investment, okay? So let's kind of understand that before we go any further, if there's any questions about this is a great time to talk about the investment. So one of the things I want to make clear here is that this is a business opportunity and not a franchise. So with franchises, you know that you're going to have franchise fees. You'll possibly have royalty fees. You may have some profit fees that if you're making a little bit too much, they may start asking you for a little bit more money here. But the money that you're going to collect from the doctors, American Business Systems gets no royalties off of that. So if you're billing at a billing rate, let's say about 6% or 7%, there's no percentage of that ever goes back to American Business Systems. That's your money. And I'm going to, again, show you those calculations here of what you can potentially make at billing at 6 or 7%. So I have seen not only myself, but others have their return on investment within the first 1.5 to 2 years. A lot of them actually happen within the first year. And I say that between 1.5 years or 2 years because most people never see a profitability until after 2 to 3 years. If you go out there and do your research on that, you can find that all over the place over the internet. When's the quickest way that you're going to see that you're starting to make money, and then how long it actually takes you to get your return on investment back. Okay. If there are no questions about the investment right now, I'm going to go on because it does include your training, your lifetime of support, all the different products, all the different services that I'm going to be talking about this afternoon. It's 100% all exclusively or all inclusive investment at $30,000. All right, so one of the first things you're going to get is training. Now, I mentioned to you about your training, and this is a great time. If you got questions about training, this will be a good time for you to ask me some questions about that. So the training, what does it consist? Well, it consists of 10 modules. Now, remember, I mentioned earlier that we're actually creating and have already created an advanced training course. Now, just like any other training courses that you ever go to, that advanced training course would make 0 sense until you go through this particular training course. This is our bedrock of all of our training. It does everything that you're ever going to really need. Matter of fact, once you complete this training, you'll know more about revenue cycle management than most doctors and even the office managers there. So, because we're looking at it from all aspects of revenue, not just the billing side of it, we're going to get into a very in-depth overview of the other services that can come along and help that doctor increase their revenue. Obviously, the first place we're going to try to do that is with their billing. And just kind of let you know, if you haven't heard this before, most doctors lose money whenever they are billing or someone's billing for them and they're getting their claims rejected at the insurance level or even sometimes at the clearinghouse level. So what happens here is if that doesn't occur properly, and those claims get rejected either at the clearinghouse level or at the insurance level, those claims have to be reprocessed. And a lot of times those claims never, ever get reprocessed. So what we have calculated out, and it's pretty much industry standard, that any doctor could experience anywhere from a 15 to a 35% loss of their income based upon claims that have been rejected and never refiled. Okay. How about if we can show that doctor before we even get started with them, how we've got a rejection rate less than 2%. So that means right off the bat, we're already given that doctor an increase in their revenue. We can show those numbers there. But in this training overview, this is going to take you approximately about 2 weeks to complete. There's 10 modules. This is going to be taught to you in a live Zoom session with an instructor there. That instructor will go through you. It's going to take you about 90 minutes each to go through each of these instructions. And then in between these sessions, between module 1 and module 2 and module 3, you're going to have some homework because what you're going to be doing is developing your business foundation. Everything from if you need help with getting your LLC started or naming your business or you're getting your website up and going. And then we're going to start diving into, as you can see there in module 3, or actually module 2, how the whole process of iClaim, which is the practice management platform, which I mentioned earlier that there's 3 of those. And then EMRX, and that's the electronic medical records side of the practice management side of it. So we're going to talk with you about that and the pricing of that, how that goes along, because you're going to need to charge the doctor for the use of that. Right now, the doctors are using several different platforms. There's several great platforms out there already that doctors have switched from that standardized system where it was more of a server-based type software, because a lot of doctors had their own. They were spending literally thousands of dollars to get that, and they actually maintaining it, to now more of, instead of a big upfront cost, what they were doing, sometimes it was $10, $15, $20,000 for a practice management software. Now they've got a low entry, like a startup cost, and then a monthly fee that goes along with that. And the same thing that happens here with iClaim and EMRX. And again, that's not money that's American Business System is making. That's actually the service that is being used to help that doctor collect that type of revenue and reduce those claims there. So again, like I said, we've got a full in-depth certified medical revenue manager training And the outline is huge. And right now, we're not even going to have time to go through this. We're almost at the bottom of the hour, and I haven't even got to the meat of everything. All right. So a question has come in. Sharon's asking, does your group have templates for contractual agreements? We do. That's all in our support part of it. And I'm going to show you where you'll be able to find that here in just a moment. So Sharon, hang on, and I'll share that with you. Now, let's get into the software and the marketing tools. So I've already mentioned to you that we've got 12, or the services that we have available. There are 12 different income generating services, which includes the billing, the practice management, the electronic health records, and some other great sources. Let me show this to you on this particular slide. And I want to point out, remember I said earlier that during times of disruption, other new services come out. And one of the best ones I like, and it's became near and dear to me because we actually got to put my mother-in-law on this during that time of COVID, because we needed to make sure that her doctor knew that she was doing fine, because we couldn't actually get her to the doctor. And you see right down here at the left-hand corner there, this little flyer there here, it says virtual care. Virtual care is a service, folks, that allows doctors to take blood pressure readings, glucose readings, pulse oximeter readings from the patient's home, and it gets delivered to them via a cell service. Because what happens is that these devices have the SIM cards in each of those, and it allows that particular data to go over through the nearest cell tower, regardless of who the services might be, whether there's an AT&T tower or a Verizon tower or whatever is next to that patient. That SIM card picks up that and then delivers that results back to the doctor into a software where the doctors can monitor their patients remotely. So it's called remote patient monitoring. Folks, that alone could be its own business model. But whenever we found this through the COVID years, Patrick and Adam and the rest of the crew here, we just decided to put that into everything that we have here. And that's what's great about American Business System. So whenever new technology comes around or new things come around, we just get to add it into your already solutions package. Even if you join today and we add more, which we know that we're going to do that already going to 2025, there's not an upcharge or anything that goes along with that. And I dare say that you would find that type of service offered by any other revenue cycle management business opportunity that might be out there. The one that's right next to it is called Compliancy Guard, and that has to do with HIPAA compliancy. That's a full HIPAA regulated part where the doctors who are going to be finishing out 2024 and going to 2025 are going to need to get their HIPAA compliancy rules all updated and their staff retrained and recertified through the first part of the year. So you can see that we're reaching out so much further than just doing revenue cycle management. And the virtual care, the doctors can actually do billing for that. Medicare actually reimburses for that, and the doctors make money on that. And every time that the doctors are making money on it, whether you're doing the billing for that doctor or not, you're getting revenue on that. Same thing with the HIPAA compliancy. Once that doctor gets started in that particular training and retraining, and they get their whole office trained, you are making money off of that because that's a service that the doctor's going to have to pay for. Same thing with, let me look up here. If you look up in the right-hand corner of the top row, you'll see Audit Guard and CodeWrite. Those are both coding services. So anytime that the doctors need coding services, the doctor's going to pay for the use of that service. So with that, you're making money on top of that. Now, let me share with you that you may be saying, well, Eric, why would the doctor be paying for that particular service? Because you are a revenue cycle management company. So don't think of yourself as just a lowly, measly medical biller. you're creating yourself a industry of revenue cycle management. I have used every single one of these services with at least one or two of my clients throughout. The only one I know I haven't used is Dynamax, because I don't do any dental billing. To me, it's scary. But there are some people out there who might have some dentists that they might know, and they might want to do that. So, really quickly, in a nutshell, you're going to get iClaim. It's going to have everything that that doctor is going to need to do all of their billing, all of their keeping up with their practice. And as I mentioned, there are three different types of iClaim products that can be utilized. Some will be better for much larger type practice, some for a little bit smaller type practice. Some are going to be needed for some doctors that might be selling or reselling certain vitamins and other things that typically doctors like to sell on the side, and they might need to keep an inventory of that. One of our software partners actually has that built in there for it. Same thing with electronic medical records there. That's where the doctors are utilizing the EMR side of it to see their patients. And literally, once they get through seeing their patients through this, it is so ingenious now because this is where AI is really entered into the picture of this. So the doctors don't even have to type in their notes anymore. And it goes, and it's, I hate to even, we use the word dictation. We used to say the doctors can dictate in there and it'd pick it up with something like a dragon speed. Now with AI built into it, the doctors actually just speak into their phones or into their iPads, and it actually creates what's called the SOAP note. The doctor's not even typing it out anymore. They don't have to have a transcriptionist. They don't have to have somebody sitting there in their room to transcribe as the doctors are doing that. It's all built in there. Now, the doctors may need to go in there and tweak a few things, but their SOAP note is already built. Now, some of you are going, Eric, what in the world is a SOAP note? Well, let me tell you real quickly. SOAP notes stand for what's called subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. When you go to the doctor, they're going to ask you subjective questions. Why are you coming in today? How do you feel? Does this hurt? Does this not hurt? What's your temperature? All of that. That's all what's known as subjective information. Once they start to do their examination on you and they're looking down your throat, looking in your ear, taking, looking, prodding and poking and doing all that, that's called the objective part of the note. That's what they're saying. Okay, and they're putting all that down. Then they take both the subjective and the objective, and then they make an assessment. That assessment is where the first code, medical code, actually comes into play. And that's what's called the diagnosis code. That's what's wrong with you clinically, as for in the terms of what's wrong with you. You get tagged with a diagnosis code of high blood pressure, hypertension, which is the same thing. Could be shingles, it could be measles, it could be ingrown toenail, whatever it may be. That becomes a diagnosis code. And that's the first code that is actually used in the billing side of it. Then when the doctor's through and they're going through the plan part of it, that's where the final code comes into play, and that's called the procedure code. It's what the doctor did for you. How long did they talk with you? What kind of counseling did they do? Did they give you a shot? Did they do some type of other procedure that they can bill for during that particular visit? That's the code that you would think of as the money code. That's the code that would say, insurance company, reimburse me $175 for this particular visit based upon these diagnosis codes. Okay, so that's where the SOAP note comes into play. All this artificial intelligence that's built in the EMRX now, the doctors just speak it. It builds their clinical SOAP note, which in turn gives you, as the medical biller, the codes in which you are going to take that and then bill out from there. That's what EMRX does. Elias is asking, what scares you about billing dentists? I see a potential, but I don't see the downside. Elias, the only thing that scares me is I don't know it. I've never done a dental billing. Listen, if you got dental billing down, I'd say go for it. And that's why we have a dental plan and dental service for those. Because what we were having is people coming in and going, hey, we've got dentists that we would like to do billing for. And that's the only difference there. It's just a matter. I like to kind of stay in my little world. I know it. I've been working with doctors, the medical side of everything, like I said, for 16, 17 years. Um, I guess another thing, Elias, whenever about dental billing, it scares me just to go to the dentist. So I don't know what it is, but it's really nothing. There's good money to be made there in dental practice, and a lot of the services that we have, like the HIPAA compliancy and the credentialing and um, auto card works really well for dentists. Quick Collect works very well with dentist offices. So we've got all these different things that certainly kind of go from medical to dental sides of everything. But I just found, and again, I think from my side is that I see a lot of potential on the medical side because typically you from there you can build everything from a massage therapist to a chiropractor all the way up to an orthopedic surgeon or a cardiologist or whatever. There's a there's a very broad um, group of providers out there that you can do billing for. Deanna says I used to assist, so maybe that's the world that you guys are very familiar with, and you know those codes. And so I'd say absolutely go for it. All right, so the reason I'm showing this is different from the flyers, okay? So you get over 2,000 marketing pieces. You're going to get all of this. A lot of this, what I'm showing you here, these are actually going to be customized with your content information on it. So if your medical billing company is Main Tree Billing Company, okay, that's what's going to go on here along with your logo and all your contact. Print it on there. It's not that we're going to give you a spool of labels that you can slap on there. This is actually printed on there. So you'll notice that it's customized. This set right here, these are part of what's called our auto card program. Now you see that right there, but all of these are actually postcards that are generated electronically and automatically with your content information. And you can actually slap your signature on there and then have these to utilize if you're doing a little bit of drip marketing campaigns. I've used this. It's been very successful with it. I love it. And the doctors can actually use AutoCard. Well, we've got different campaigns for doctors and dentists. For like dentists, it's reminding them to come get their cleaning. It could be just sending happy birthday cards out. The same thing with doctors' offices, everything from mammogram reminders to annual wellness visits or even birthday cards if the doctor wants to send those out. But this auto card program allows you to customize postcards and or regular like greeting cards of some sort out. They can either go in an envelope, not in an envelope. So, but these are not delivered through any electronic means. So it's not going to somebody's spam bucket on their email part of it. So I just want to kind of show you that you're getting this along with your services. Obviously, a lot of people want to know about their website. Yes, you're going to get a website. That's also included in that $30,000 investment. You get to choose and pick which one you want. Again, you see up in the left-hand corner, there's a little icon with a heart with a little cardiac reading there, and it says AB Solutions. That's just our placeholder. That's where you would put your content information there, and to be able to kind of just customize this. There's a lot of different what's called hero type graphics that you can mix and choose and put it and get all that done. But that's included. Now, one thing the only separate thing out of that $30,000 you're going to need to pay for is going to be your web hosting and the cost to have your own original URL. That's your website address. American Business Systems does not do like absystems.com / absolutions.com. Okay. That's more for multi-level marketing kind of websites. This is your original website. We're going to help you make sure that you find the right name. There's so many brand new ones that have come out that are not even .coms anymore. So there's some great names out there that are available. Now, going back to Sharon's question about, do we have templates for contractual agreements? Now, again, this afternoon, we're not going to have time to leave this part of the webinar and go into an actual setting of the AB systems, or what's called the ABS LSS, the American Business Systems Licensee Support Site. But it is in here, Sharon, that you'll find your resources. Now, I'm going to do my best to use my little mouse right there. You see where it says resources right there? That's where you would go find all of your contractual agreements. Now, they're all templated there. So all you got to do is change your name, obviously dates, who you're going to serve, and all of that's there. Now, you're not going to be left alone there, because you're going to have a support team behind you that's actually going to help you through that. I'm going to look ahead and grab I believe that's the training one. This is the one I wanted. We have a lifetime of support. So it is the support team that will actually help you navigate those templates, make sure that you are getting the right your pricing down properly. Because even before that, support's actually going to kind of take you through several different things. As you can see here, you're going to go through a jump start marketing plan to help you get your first client within the first 30 to 90 days. Along with that, it's a support site, which is what that support site that we were looking at. That's there 24/7. And then all of our support team is US-based support teams that are here by phone. So it's not like you're going to get some answering service and press 1 for here and press 2 for here. And if you want to leave a message, we'll try to contact you back in 2 to 3 days. We're going to get back with you quickly because we want you to be successful. So when you got a doctor that you've been marketing to, and you need some help through that, we're actually going to teach you and show you how to do what's called a practice analysis. Now, that practice analysis is going to be taught to you right over here in Module 9. So you can see I kind of went back into a few slides that we looked at earlier. So this practice analysis questionnaire is going to help you, guide you through what you're going to need to ask the doctor. It's going to be everything from how many patients are they seeing? How many of those patients are Medicare patients? How many of those patients are commercial type patients, insurance wise? Do you deal with patients that are cash only? Do you deal, then we're going to get into a little bit more inside of that practices business part of it, like, how many claims are you processing in a month's time? How many of those claims did you get processed that actually are rejected and you have to refile those? How much money do you think you've lost? So we're going to go through all of that. That's what that practice analysis, and that's what that support team is going to be there for you. So not only are you going to get, again, live training, one-on-one training, not a big classroom training. We used to do a big classroom training. We bring everybody in, we do a big classroom training. But now you get one-on-one. And this is great because the instructor is going to ask you questions about your location and the types of doctors that you want to potentially go market to. And she's going to actually help you get to there. Once she hands you off to support's going to take you from there, and they are going to be there live with you through your entire process of helping you focus in on which type of doctors, doing that practice analysis, putting that questionnaire, putting that analysis all together, setting you up, and we will help you schedule a live demonstration of our software because the doctors are going to want to see that. We'll do the demo for you, and nothing you're really ever going to have to learn. So we'll keep doing that for you, and we'll process all of that to help you, again, get to that thing that you want to get to, which is having a client. Part of getting you that client is making sure that we set you up as the expert in this field, the subject matter expert. One of those ways that we're going to do that here, and one of the showcase things that we have here to help you get to that part really quickly, is to get you involved in the writing of this book. It's called The New Thriving Medical Practice. you'll see in the middle part there, there is a forward there that says Susan Smith right there. It says CMRM. That would be replaced with your name, with your credentials. Same thing on the final page. We've got a template already built for you to review, rewrite it if you'd like to, the forward to this book, and then we will customize, print it, and you'll be shipped out these books for you to utilize, not to give to every doctor, but to give to some doctors. Now, we're also going to show you how to get this in the doctor's hands without you even ever visiting the doctor's office. If there's a particular doctor that you really want to target, we're going to actually show you how to get this book into that doctor's hands without you ever stepping into that doctor's office and get past the gatekeeper, get this book in that doctor's hands. One of the things that we're going to show you how to do, and one of the things you're going to learn during that training is how to go through that particular book. And actually, you see these little yellow tabs. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through not page by page, but several pages at a time to highlight certain areas of this book so that when you do this process of getting this book into the doctor's hands, they're going to be able to go straight to certain parts of the book without having to read the whole thing. What this is going to do is going to help shortcut the time that the doctor doesn't have anymore. And we're going to highlight some certain parts of this book where the doctor goes, wow, that's very important there. It's almost like this person that sent me this book is talking directly to me. And what's going to happen is they're going to go back a little bit further and catch up to those certain passages of this book. This is how so differently that we help you actually get that return on investment back in your pocket by helping you get that first client there. So that's one of the key elements that we have. Now, listen, folks, we got about 15 more minutes. I'm going to try to take you right up at the top of the hour, and then we will see what we need to do here. But there's a couple of questions that have come in. Let me read through these real quickly. Nancy, I'm going to get to your question here in just a second. You got a great position there. Henry, let's see. I'm not sure I'm on the same website that you are on showing what's the ABS URL. Henry, I'm not sure about your question there. And okay, so Elias is asking how many signups are happening with new licensees per month. Okay, so I'm going to reserve all those questions there to the last part. One of the things I want to show you here real quickly is salaries based upon the AAPC, which is the resource that calculates everything for those people who are going through a particular certification. Everything from a certified professional biller all the way down to what's a certified professional compliancy officer. You can see that those ranges of particular incomes are set right there, with the median average of a person that actually works for a doctor's office, call it a medical biller, about $67,000. Okay, mainly most billers are going to make about $50,000 to $60,000. Okay, so when those people that are looking like they're going to go to school, all they're going to go to school for is to go to school and get a job at a doctor's office, making about $50,000 to $60,000. And then possibly capping out no more than 70,000 if they're doing well. Okay, so let's ask another question. Why would a doctor want to use you? All right, so let's take this of the cost that it costs a doctor to actually employ as a full-time employee, which usually takes about 1.5 people there to actually get this done. So if you just take the salary alone of 1.5 people, and you plug that in there, that's about just under $70,000. Then you take all the other expenses that go along with having a full-time employee and the cost of software and everything else that goes along with that, can tap out about $95,000. But even if you wipe all of that out, okay, to do those same 100 claims, at each of those claims costing about $150 per claim times 52 weeks at 7%. If they outsource that would cost the doctor $54,000 to do that. Okay. Now that would be your money. Okay. So even if you eliminated everything else that you see here, you probably asked the question, why would a doctor use me? Well, one of the first things you do is actually help them reduce their expenses. And doing that, not only you reducing expenses, but you're also increasing the revenue of lost revenue. Okay. If there are any questions about that, feel free to pop those in here. I want to go through this quick calculation here to show you. Now, you can find this on our website. What you'd have to do is go to absystems.com and go all the way down to the bottom of the website, and you'll find where it says income calculator. Now, I'm going to blow this up a little bit bigger because, and again, we don't have a lot of time here. But if you took the average billing rate of 7%, and again, each claim is worth about $150. That's basically for a primary care physician right now, their reimbursements are right about 150 bucks. If you're doing for that one doctor per day, if that doctor's seeing about 25 patients per day, your potential yearly income could be about $68,250. Okay. So when you're thinking about you're doing your due diligence and you're trying to figure out my investment versus my ROI, my return on investment, how can I get that? If we can help you get that doctor within the first 6 months, that's a great running window of time. The rest of the 6 months, you're going to be doing this type of billing. You can already see you're going to have your ROI within your first year. And then as you start you complete that first year, you'll already see that you're making money. And probably by that time, you're already picked up another client. So now you've made not just $68,000, but maybe $120,000, $130,000. And then finally, most of our business owners are averaging anywhere from 3 to 5 clients that they're doing billing for. And you can see the potential opportunities there. Okay. I'm going to skip some of these other ones because I want to get down to some of these questions and not leave everybody hanging on these. Okay. So Nancy's saying here, and Nancy, now what I don't know is where you're getting your data. And that's always important. I always want to ask people, you got a statistic here, but we also got to figure out where you're getting the data and where did that data get collected and why did that data get collected. So Nancy said more and more doctors are leaving private practice. Latest statistics say nearly 78% of U.S. doctors are employed by hospitals or other corporate entities. Private practice doctors are who we are targeting. Correct. So to answer Nancy's question, private practices are who we're targeting. I have never found it to be that high. Now, you say that you got it from the Google machine, okay? But I don't know if that number is obviously correct because I know I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I know there's some other populations that are out there. I see new private practices coming in all the time. I'm also seeing doctors who have been in private practice, left private practice because they had poor management skills, because they probably hired people to do their billing in-house and not have it outsourced, only to join a hospital and then leave that hospital system because they were having to work more hours for, again, less money. And I'm finding those doctors leaving employed positions going back into private practice. So I think if you were to see how many doctors leave the corporate world to go back into private practice, I'd say you'd probably see a lot of those doctors as well because they figure out, look, you got to understand, doctors are independent-minded people already. The last thing they want to do is be collectively part of a group. Now, it's not to take anything away from the corporate world of healthcare, but it's the corporate world of healthcare. And a lot of doctors like to think independently. Now, let's talk about us. We're the patients. Let's say this, we're the consumers. I don't know about you. I'd rather go to a doctor who is private practice and not someone that's employed by a hospital system. I get better care. That doctor's more involved in the community. That's what you want. So there are literally hundreds, if not thousands of doctors out there that are either still in private practice, want to remain in private practice, or doctors that are finishing up their contracts and ready to get back into private practice. This is a fluid thing here, Nancy. So that question's been asked of us. Like I said, I've been with ABS nearly 16, 17 years, and that question has come up. I remember that question coming up back then. It's still the same. Doctors are still leaving corporate world, coming back into private practice. Okay, so hopefully that helped answered your question there. Henry, you're saying something about the website. You said that you're showing. I'm not sure if I'm on the same website that you are showing. What's the ABS URL? So the ABS URL, if you just want to know where our website is, it's absystems.com. Okay, that's where you'll go to, and you can find everything there from there. Hopefully that's what you were looking for. Elias is asking approximately how many doctors' offices sign up with new licensees every month. Literally, I don't know. I'd have to get that. I tell you what, why don't you reserve that question for your sales rep, because they're going to have probably a little bit better answer than I would have. But I do know that right now we've got 300 to 400 licensees or business owners that are part of American Business Systems. I know every week these folks are signing up doctors all the time, because you got to remember, once you've broken into this part of the industry and you are helping doctors make money, it's inevitable that other doctors are going to talk, and then you're going to get referrals from other doctors. And sometimes you're going to have to say, I can't take any more business. And we've had ABS licensees, business owners, actually say, I can't take any more right now. Now, and it's really because they may not want to have employees. They just want to do their work and do well with that. Okay. Alex is asking, what is the failure rate? Well, the failure rate is what I would consider to be 100% of people who don't put the effort into it. Now, that seems a very in the clouds type answer out there. I know that people have struggled. So what I wanted to do is encourage you to talk with some other of our ABS business owners. Talk with them. They're going to tell you their struggles and maybe how long it took them to get their first client. It took me a while to get my feet going on this, but it's not impossible to get your first client. The only time it becomes a failure is when you actually just stop trying to do it. We have found that if you just do what we've taught you to be able to do, and you stick with it, and you do all the marketing techniques and plans that we've got together, you're going to end up in this industry, and you're going to end up with a billing client. So I know that that's kind of an arbitrary answer to your question there. Patrick used to be, and we used to do this all the time. He'd say failure rates is 100%. Again, of everybody who just stops doing what you've been taught to do. And so that's really where we see the failure rate there. Let's see. Becker's is where the statistic came from. Okay, I'm not sure Becker's, and so I don't know. So you might just want to get back with your sales rep, and y'all can have that discussion. Henry says, thank you for answering the questions. All right, folks, let's kind of just start wrapping this up. Gosh, it's already 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Let me share with you that we are the only business opportunity out there that actually gives a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, let me share with you how that starts. And one of the things I actually learned from Adam last week, this starts the day that you start your training. So your 30 days begins on, that 30 days that's for you to evaluate the content of what you're going to learn and the everything that you're going to experience here at American Business Systems. When you start a business opportunity and you do your first investment, typically once you've signed that bottom line agreement and you've given your money to whatever business opportunity or franchise that's out there, there's no way of getting it back. Okay. Patrick Phillips, Adam Phillips has always been fair people. And this goes all the way back to whenever I first started here at American Business Systems. And that is that the Phillips family never wants to take anybody for granted. And so the fairest thing that we can do is give you 30 days to review all of the material, go through all of the training, the live training. And at the end of that 30 days, if you feel like this business is not for you, there are no questions asked. Just say, it's not for me. I don't like it. I want to move on. I want to go start a different business opportunity. I want to just get my money back. I think I found something else I want to do. Now, the question is how often has it happened? Once we moved from having training locally, we had everybody here and we were given only a 5-day money back guarantee. You'd have to sit through the entire week of training. But once we moved to the 30-day money back guarantee, as far as I know, I don't think there's anybody that's ever kind of gone down that path. So you kind of know at that point, but it's there. It's there for you to have. And so really, in a sense, all the work that we put into it, whether it's these webinars that we do, the time that you spent with your sales rep here, we go through the motions of getting you through the training, shipping out all of your material out to you, you reviewing it, going through the training, and investing in you for, a month's time, only to say that we give you that opportunity to get your money back. There's a lot of risk that we put out there, and we don't mind it because we know that today's money is hard to come by, and we want to make sure that we've helped you at least make the right decision. So that's our gift to you, and we want to hopefully be able to keep that for you. Now, a couple of things you need to do. Not only do I want you to get that first thing I mentioned to you, the 5 secrets to success, but also talk with your sales rep here and get the research guide. There's so much more information in there that you can review with your business partners or anything else. Like I mentioned earlier as well, we have a YouTube channel that you can go out there and go look at other ones. You need to go watch the one that I did with Adam last week. So go check that out. It's at youtube.com/YABS. Then talk with our business owners. We've got a list of current business owners. Some have been with us 15, 20 years. Some have been with us only a couple of years. So we've got a big group of people for you to be able to chat with and talk about their successes, talk about their failures. That's a fair question to ask. What's the percentage rate that people fail? Now, there are people who quit. Okay. Was that a failure on our part? Was it a failure on their part? Is it just something that they just decided to go do differently? I don't know. Why do people quit jobs and go do something else? I don't know. So those are things that's why we're here to help you do all of your research as early on as possible. The other thing I want you to do is sign up for your own live demonstration. Get with your sales rep and do this. This is a way that you can help evaluate whether this, again, is a business for you. So go through the demonstration, then get the purchase agreement and review that. Now, the refund agreement or the refund policy is right on that front page. You're going to want to get that and have that. And then get your funding in. We can actually get you trained before the end of this year. Now, again, folks, we've got 6 weeks left of 2024, and we'll start here 2025 pretty quickly. We can still get you started. Now, we may not be able to complete all of your training, but you may want to consider, and I'm going to show you that I'm going to put a disclaimer out here for this, because I'm not a tax attorney and I'm not a CPA. However, if you make your investment this year, some of you are pretty savvy enough to work with your CPA, your accountant, maybe some tax attorney that you're working with, and you might need some write-offs at the end of this year. And one of those write-offs can be the start of your $30,000 investment and get your business going. You may want to be able to take advantage of it now, because if you start at January 1, you're going to have to wait till 2025 is all over to take advantage of your investments there. So just a thought there that you might want to consider. All right. I think Elias says thank you. I appreciate the time for everybody to be here. Folks, again, hey, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for us to do this every week with you. we will do a webinar next Wednesday. This is the day before Thanksgiving. Now, sometimes I've had a few folks on there. Sometimes I had several folks on there because sometimes people are off. And we're going to do a Wednesday Thanksgiving webinar special. So I want everybody to attend that can attend. If not, if you don't and you can't show up because you may be traveling for Thanksgiving, let me be one of the first to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. It is a pleasure for us to be able to do this for you. We appreciate your interest in what we're doing here, and we want to tell you thank you, and we appreciate you and appreciate you being on these webinars. If you have any more questions, reach out to your sales rep, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Y'all have a wonderful, great weekend and a blessed, happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you before next week. Y'all have a great, thanks everybody. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.